bandwidth to satisfy a lot of the requirements, and it's more of a rollout and provisioning issue than a technical issue. So getting LTE worldwide in every place that you want to use it and enough backbone up to it is going to be the issue. Additionally, one of the things that I'm finding is Wi-Fi continues to improve, and so that a lot of devices, the cloud network will be there because the Wi-Fi is going to, like I'm using Wi-Fi in here because the LTE is lousy. AT&T automatically will find a Wi-Fi hotspot and offload the LTE on the Wi-Fi, and so that's a lot of the time that's just absolutely invisible. So we'll get there on the network. It's a deployment issue.
Hang on, Lance. You're gonna get a kazoo here. Hang on, don't leave. Okay. Hey, I gotta say, is this like the best of all the shows I've been to this year? This is the best consistent Wi-Fi at a show that I've seen. And this is not a small show anymore, so we can't use that as an excuse. If you try to use Wi-Fi in the other shows lately, what I used to do was the opposite. I flipped over to my LTE. The Wi-Fi at this show is awesome. So good job, Lance. Appreciate it.
We have a question from the floor.
Whoa! Hey, I have a question.
Okay? Yes, sir.
Last year, your notebook was 5.5 years. Your tablet was, or your what is on your Ultrabook? What is your battery life now?
Oh, so I'm running the Windows pre-release, and it appears to be between 7.5 and 8 hours. The combination of the Haswell, the software for the Windows 8.1. That a much smaller battery is much nicer.
And a smaller battery?
Oh, much smaller.
So
my old one, I had a 9-cell battery that was like 500 grams by itself. And this one is like, instead of 85 watt hours, this is like 40 watt hours.
So we've got another question back there. Go ahead.
This one.
Very non-technical question. I'm really asking it. You know, my daughter is 7th grade. The school might department guy says she'd be fine with the Chromebook, and rather than a full-blown PC, I don't know too much about Chromebooks, but just wondering what you thought about something like that, a facility like that versus a PC for students.
Okay, that is a fantastic question to ask about Chromebooks because I bought a Chromebook. Unfortunately, I was not able to buy a Lenovo, and we sell most of ours into education because the software, apparently somebody's gone off and done some great primary and secondary school education software for Chromebooks. So I had to buy one of our competitors' Chromebooks, and the cloud interface for just casual, around-the-house email browsing, doing picture stuff, not geeky stuff, really works very well. And so I was actually going to use that as another anecdote that the cloud is really there, but the pictures I thought was more powerful. But $200, $250 Chromebook for your kid, especially since the software in the schools is so good for it, is a really good investment. And hopefully you can buy it on Lenovo. I'll get together with you later to take note.
I was afraid he was going to ask for a free one, so you're behind me, by the way.
Well, but friends of mine can get employee purchase price, so I can do that.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Charles Grafcon. He is, we didn't know it, but we're actually colleagues. Thank you for the definition. We're actually colleagues at Information Week. I write the storage blog. Charles is editor at large, so I think that means he's just like as large and covers the whole country. But maybe he'll explain it for us. Charles, go ahead. Come on up. That was just water.
Thanks, George.
I'll just go ahead and talk. I'm the editor at large for Information Week. I draw the analogy to Dragnet. The criminals were always at large. No one knew what they were doing or what they were up to. That's kind of my relationship with my editors. In effect, I cover cloud computing for Information Week. I've been doing that for several years now. I'm the author of a book on cloud management strategies for the cloud revolution, published by McGraw-Hill. Trying to refute some of the dissing that was going on by Larry Ellison and Mark Bird and other critics of cloud back in 2009. I got the job because nobody else wanted to do it at that time. The cloud is going to push us toward a diskless world because cloud data centers are remote data centers. They always contain latencies that the cloud provider would like to overcome. One of the few ways to do it, well, there are many, many ways to do it. Amazon builds content delivery service, adds that onto all the other services that it has, because it knows that the cloud customer, in many cases, is going to need that. I think one day there will be a whole set of speed-enhancing services available from cloud providers, many of them based on solid-state disks. To me, Google sets the standard here, but every cloud vendor wishes to be as fast and as responsive as possible. It's required to compete in this market. More and more computing is moving into the cloud. The cloud will become more and more a diskless world. One example is a young cloud provider that you've probably never heard of. I believe at the start of this year, ranked 568 among hosting services providers. It started building cloud servers with 2 terabytes of solid-state disk included in every server. It began serving up customers virtual machines in, I forget the time, less than a minute, 55 seconds. Amazon will take several minutes normally, and depending on the complexity of the system, it may be something like 6 minutes. So DigitalOcean has found a ready following among developers who like to quickly get their machines up and running and test something. It happened to attract some of the leading Ruby developers, and I suspect some of its growth reflects migration of the Ruby community into DigitalOcean servers. But Netcraft measured an increase in DigitalOcean servers from January to June from 100 to 600 and 996. If it continues growing at that rate, it will be proving the worth of solid-state disks in cloud computing. A major VMware partner in Europe is Colt. It operates 20 data centers around Europe in the leading business centers, Paris, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, London. And it has initiated a service where it is using pooled solid-state storage as its storage service. This improves, of course, the speed of response to storage service users, gives Colt an advantage over other cloud suppliers. Its vendor happens to be SolidFire, but I believe Violent Memory, Pure Storage, and other solid-state vendors do similar things. In other words, if the cloud is ready for solid state, there are vendors able to supply it. Typically in the cloud, the best cloud suppliers are also major consumer application suppliers. Apple, eBay, Amazon, Microsoft. They're all looking to respond to consumers in a real-time sense as opposed to the traditional enterprise sense where the user might sit and wait an appropriate time in the eyes of IT to get what he needs. So the cloud application is going to thrive on near real-time data analysis, and the amount of data involved may be huge. Business logic applied to that data normally takes time of spinning disk and seek times